Hey, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Happy Thursday. It is raining here in Philadelphia. I hope it is beautiful weather wherever you guys reside. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Sister George in the building. We have Coach EO. How are you guys doing today?
Hey Naima, how are you?
I am good.
Good. Hey Coach EO.
Hey, what's
Good, good. So I am so happy to have my buddy Coach EO to the show. This man and I, we go way back to the O'Shea days. They were not ready for him then, and they still ain't ready for him now. Now, Coach EO is full of gems, man. And he's going to give it to you straight, no chaser, no limit, or no line. And it doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, you're blue, you're purple, okay? I am so proud of you, EO. You always have the talent, and I am glad it's definitely paying off for you. EO, remember
hey, 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 you know what? Real quick. Yeah, appreciate it.
I started as a moderator on your channel. I don't have a wrench anymore, but
You know what? Hold up, ladies. Ladies, give me 1 second. I'm getting some feedback here. I'm trying to figure out why that is. I'm hearing some playback here.
yeah, I don't hear any feedback. Danny, do you?
Hold on. Let me come out and come back in real quick. I'm over here looking like a rookie, but
Go ahead.
I'm getting a little feedback. Nothing in the when we were backstage, I didn't hear nothing like this. This is some feedback on my end. So, give me a minute. I'm gonna come back in for this beautiful introduction you're giving me.
Okay.
Be right
All
back.
right.
Naima, how's your day going?
My day is going good. It's raining here in Philadelphia, but it did stop, so I'm happy about that. The weekend is tomorrow, so we have a lot to
Yes.
look forward to.
Well, mine starts today, so I whew, I'm excited.
Yes, yes.
All right, we're in business now. We are
Oh,
in business.
okay. Yes, but I was just
I
sharing
had a
with
tab open.
everybody. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to share it with everybody because I did start as a moderator, on your channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying I don't have a wrench anymore, but it's okay. I did
You
kind of
don't?
go the channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
listen,
I get rid of people.
I know, but
Hey,
Coach
no,
I
no.
know that.
I do. What I do is I look through to see who's been active, who is active, who's inactive, and sometimes people just move on. They got other priorities, so I just go ahead and give that responsibility to someone that can do the job. So it's really never anything personal.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? I never took it as that.
Okay.
You're my buddy. But on your channel, you have so many videos. You have a lot. You have a library of game over there, and not just how tos. There's a lot of how to. Men with mics out here, right? But you offer so much more, and you offer it for the ladies too. Hey, ladies, and you offer one-on-one
Yeah.
coaching, and you
Hmm.
also have a book called "Cut the Bullshit."
That's
Okay,
right.
Oh, we're
That's
gonna have
right.
to order that Naima and do a little review or some, honey.
That's right.
that's
That's
a
right.
little book review. So
Hmm.
without further ado, please welcome my buddy Coach EO to the Tough Talk.
Hey, shout out to the tough. What is it? Tough Talk Table. Is that what it's called? Tough. Something
Tough
like that.
Talk TV.
Tough Talk TV. Shout out to Tough Talk TV. I just met Sister George here backstage. Shout out to her. I will say, I did as I was giving myself a haircut because I do a lot of things for myself, cut my own hair, do all this stuff. And so I was cutting my hair the other day, and I caught a little snippet of a show you guys were doing. I think it was something about lying to women.
Uh-oh.
You guys had a little
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
and I caught like the tail end. I saw like Lakari up in here. Shout out to him. I saw ARC in the building, and I thought everybody brought a unique perspective. And that's something that if you care to, we can touch that a little bit here today too about lying to women. And
You
should
know,
you do it?
that's
Should you
actually
not do
one
it?
of my questions. So I'm glad
Okay.
I did want to get
Okay.
your opinion on that
Yeah,
at
before we
some
get into
point.
that though, I do want to compliment you, Sister George, that you have a great radio voice.
Well, I
Like you
thank you
you should
so
be doing
much.
this. Yeah, you Naima as well, but Sister George just has that real. Yeah, it must be your mic. You got a good mic, don't you?
I do. Shout out to
That
DJ Kuda,
okay.
because he
Yes.
was
Yeah.
the one to give my husband and myself some advice,
Okay.
and we took that advice and ran with it. And yeah, I love, but I love the mic.
Yeah, shout out to Kuda. He's real big on the technology and all that stuff. So, but yeah, you're coming in real nice, and that's good, especially if you're going to be doing some radio. So,
Yep.
and you got that big bright smile too, innit?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
You
said
ladies better start showing your faces out over here.
One of these days. YouTube is a very interesting place. It's a rough place around here. So, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I think at some point that would be good for you guys, especially if you want to grow the channel.
Oh,
Because you know
absolutely.
men are thirsty. They want to come over and stare at y'all and
Mm,
stuff.
Naima.
They gonna come over here just drooling and shit. So
Oh.
it would be in your best interest if you guys cammed up. But at
Yeah,
some
we
point
we
when
will
you're ready.
definitely we definitely have upcoming plans very soon actually
Okay, good,
to
good,
do it on camera. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good
cool,
look.
cool.
yeah, I think so too. Well, we're going to jump right in it. We're going to jump in, no lube. So,
Naima.
what?
She said, "Fuck the lube."
Oh wow.
She said, "I'm ready." She said, "I've been ready."
I'm so done.
I've been ready.
Okay. I'm up
Okay.
now.
You know what? Shout out to the chat room too. Shout out to everybody listening on the outside. I've been doing this coaching thing for about 4 years now. So my target audience is for men, but I do have some. I do build up lady champions as well. So just thought I'd let the people know that my target audience is men. I'm looking out for the men first and foremost. However, if the women are willing to learn from the masculine point of view, then they could stick around and learn some things too.
Okay, and that's so funny because that was definitely one of two of my questions was like, how long have you been in the coaching game business and did you coach women? But I also have
Mm.
another question that I'll get to start it off. Um, what made you get started in coaching?
Well, I was doing sales coaching for a long time. And then I'm just very good at teaching. I've always been good at presenting things in a very simple way that people can get it real fast. And they're like, damn, how come I didn't think of that? It's so simple the way you said it, but it just resonated with me. And so as time went on, one day I was on YouTube and I saw a video of O'Shea Duke Jackson pop up in my recommended. And he was sitting there with Steve the Dean Williams, who's someone I've collaborated with in the past. So respect to him. And I clicked on it and I said, like, damn, this motherfucker's a dating coach. Like, I didn't even think that existed. Like that there's an actual dating coach, like who gets paid to do that. And so I said, well, with my level of expertise, I've been with a lot of women. I was married at one time too, so I have, that experience as well. And not to mention just sale being extremely successful in the sales game with money management and things like that. So I said, I'm going to get in this game. So I did it kind of for recreation at first. And then I started to see the impact that was having on people. And then I decided, I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go 2 feet in. I definitely don't like to do things half-ass, anything I do. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it with all my might, or I'm not going to do it at all. And so I finally made a decision after a while to just go ahead and go 2 feet in. And ever since I made that decision, life has been spectacular for me and my clients.
Wow, that's dope. You said you've been married before?
I was married, yes.
Okay, and you've only been married once?
I've only been married one time, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not against marriage. I'm not against it at all. As a matter of fact, my ex-wife, there was a lot of learning experiences there. We could get into that at some point, but I handled the divorce. I ran game throughout the entire situation, and by running game, I don't mean manipulation. I just mean that I had a system to what I was doing, and so even through the demise of the marriage, I was still making sure that the woman was level-headed and her emotions were right, and that all starts and begins and ends with me. So even through the divorce, it didn't get ugly. As a matter of fact, we continued to date afterwards.
After you were divorced?
Yeah, I was still fucking her.
Well,
She was still making me meatloaf and whatever I wanted, meatloaf, mac and cheese, whatever the fuck I wanted. So whatever she wanted, I still got it. So or
so
whatever I
what
wanted
made you
rather.
not okay, so what made y'all get divorced in the first place?
You know,
And how come you didn't just go back?
well, the truth is that I met her when I was 27 years old, and she was 34. She's a little bit older than me, but very well maintained. And so she was a well-to-do woman, very successful, financially stable, a lot of properties. And so when we first started dating, it should have really just been a fling. It really should have just been dating. However, as we progressed and furthered, we were probably at the maybe 16 to 18 month mark, which is why also I teach against getting creating a label to what you have with a woman too soon. So this experience actually is what created that teaching that teaching of mine, which is to let 4 seasons go by before you actually even make a woman your girlfriend. So, and we could talk about that later too, but to not rush into anything because fools rush in. So,
That's what they
so
say.
yeah, so she asked me to marry her and everything. She bought my ring. She asked me to marry her. It wasn't
Oh,
yeah, it wasn't traditional in any sense. Um, and we got married. I had nothing to lose, really. I mean, I didn't have to support her financially. She had all her own money. She had homes. She had cars. She used to give me envelopes full of
Interesting.
cash.
so she treated you
Um,
like a little sugar baby.
yeah, pretty much.
Did you like that?
The immature me like that. So I
Oh,
was
Mhm.
younger, and I enjoyed that. But the man I am today would not enjoy that. Not to that degree. I enjoy being celebrated because I'm well worth it. I'm a valuable man. However, the way I was celebrated before, I wouldn't want to be celebrated that way today.
somebody asked,
Yeah,
was she black?
she was Hispanic.
Oh,
Yeah, she
okay.
was
Right.
Hispanic.
But
Nice
EL,
lady. Hey, nice
you
woman. Nice woman.
and EL, you don't have a preference as far as race because you dated black women, so there
I
was no
have,
issue.
yes,
Yeah.
and I've had wonderful interactions with black women.
Wait, you didn't come across like the combative, wants to run everything, unsubmissive. She wasn't that.
Oh, she was that. See, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Yeah, well, I mean, here's the truth. She was married before me. She ran a very successful multi-million-dollar business with her first husband. Well, but that wasn't really like a romantic situation. They were together for many years. They actually had 2 children. She had children too. So I did marry a woman who had some children.
I mean, it
And
happens to the best of men. I mean, look,
well,
it's real out here.
part of my decision to marry her was that she couldn't have any more children. She had a hysterectomy. So for me, I always do a risk assessment on everything. So I'm like, all right, so I can bust nuts for days and nothing's gonna happen. So cool, check mark. Um, hope that's not too vulgar for your show, but
Yo,
when a
this
woman can't
show
have kids.
today. This is
Okay, all right.
champion game. We
So
on
so
we
I-
on
so
your time.
all right. So I look at it this way: I'm always evaluating risk and also what I get for my time and everything. So I can't get her pregnant, so I could just shoot up in her, no problem. She was very good to me. We had a very good. Her personality matched mine very well. We laughed. I mean, we just had a fantastic interaction, at least to begin with. She was incredibly attractive. She had all her own money. She gave me money. We went on trips, watches, jewelry, suits, envelopes full of cash, all just so I can give her some good dick. Because what happened was her ex-husband was the kind of dude that would come in and kiss her on the cheek, and I figured that out, and so I knew she needed me to um replenish her, like replenish her
Fix the
sex.
pipes. Fix the pipes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I knew that that was my purpose in her life, and really her purpose in my life was just to. I mean, I enjoyed myself with her. I mean, we had a good time. Went on vacations. Went front row seats at concerts. Three floor houses with in ground pools. I mean, we lived it up. Problem is though, is that eventually, when you marry a woman with children, the dysfunction does begin to happen. Or I should say, it can happen. It doesn't mean it has to, but it can happen. And part of my immaturity showed up um, later on down the road. There were some things I was slipping in, and it just it started not to work. She was losing her children. At first, her children were excited about me. They loved me. They loved the fact that I was around like a young dude in the house and shit. And but eventually, once the father got in their ear, the dynamic began to change. They started not coming over the house anymore. She began losing her children. I also was failing to contribute in financial ways because I had a job and I started working another job, a web development job. So when you live with a woman, this is why I say never live with a woman either. This is why I came up with this, because I was living in her house. And
How many times did she put you out?
Twice. 2 times. And
I
one time
definitely
was in a
agree with that.
blizzard too. And
Oh,
the Chicago
wow.
blizzards, those Midwest blizzards, it ain't cute. So it was one time she put me out. I said, fuck it. I went and got my shit, got an apartment, fully furnished it. Then she begged me to come back. I didn't go back right away. She was begging me. And then so what happened was I said, hey, well, listen, I'm starting my life over. We're going to go ahead and go and get this stuff divorced. I said, hey, we can see each other like casually, but as far as the marriage is concerned, it's a wrap. So then we started seeing each other more. She said, why don't you just come back? Let's try this again. So I ended up having somebody in my family that needed a place to stay. They were like in the process of buying a home. So I had her and her husband move into my situation, take over my lease. I sold them all my furniture, that I bought. It was brand new. And so I did go back. About 3 months down the road, there was something she said to me. And I said, I will never step 1 foot back in this home. And I never did. And that was it. So we got a divorce, gave her some cash on the way out to take care of some debt that we accrued. It was not nasty. Of course, there were no children involved or nothing like that. I do realize when children are involved, it can be troublesome. But this was a clean divorce, and we continued to see each other casually afterwards until eventually, I think she wanted to get back together yet another time, and I told her that we weren't going to do that, and she moved. She ended up relocating out of the state.
That's very interesting, EO. It looks like you had a merry-go-round of relationships, right? Now, I know that on your
Merry go round
yes,
and around. Yeah.
and so and you stated before, be desperate for nothing. Explain to
Hmm.
the people
Yes.
what you meant by that because they really need to hear that.
Well, in order to be desperate for nothing, you have to live a portion of your life desperate. So it's like in order to get the game, you got to go out there and get scuffed up. And you have to even when the series I started, Killing the Simp, in order to kill the simp, you have to realize you are one, and
Absolutely.
then you identify the weakness, the mentality, the conditioning, and you begin to transform yourself. But yeah, be desperate for nothing. When you're a self-sufficient man, there's a couple things that I guess would be like my mission statement when it comes to this business, which is the importance of self-ownership. If you do not have self-ownership, you are likely to head into destruction to some degree, whether it be with a woman, bad habits, undisciplined lifestyle. Some tragedy can occur. And so the number one priority for anybody listening to me is self-ownership. I would say the second thing would be relationship building. So you got to learn how to um, properly maintain relationships. And you also have to be selective as to which relationships you enter or that you invite into your life. So that's the second thing. That's something I see missing in the dating game, since that's kind of what we're going into with men and women both. Is self-ownership is a big thing missing, which is why you see social media is so prevalent. Everybody's wanting to be something that they're not to some degree, and
Yeah.
there's a bunch of personas going on, and there's really no authenticity to the people out here, very little. And so that's why a lot of people find trouble for themselves. So The next thing I would talk about is conflict resolution. When I do speeches, I stress the importance of emotional intelligence, also having social intelligence, being able to talk to people, add value to them, find out what is useful to them, and become like the provisioner of that. So not just looking to be on the take, but actually starting with value. So I'm a big advocate for going into any situation with value first, to give value first, and then on the back end or somewhere in the middle, you'll get your value, but you have to start with value. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I teach pretty much every time I go on the air. And then, I also talk to men about loyalty. I think there's this tendency where people want loyalty. I personally don't believe in loyalty. That doesn't mean
Really?
that doesn't mean I don't get loyalty. But I just don't seek loyalty. If anything, when I'm discussing loyalty, there must be a contract behind it.
Yes, because
Mm.
everything in life is conditional, but no one wants to
Yes.
understand and believe that. Now, shout out to JR. And thank you, JR, for the super chat, for the 199 super chat. He asks, how old are you, EO? EO is 42 years old.
Yeah, I'll be 42 next month.
And I want to highlight this because Archie J, he says, a simp is someone who gives but doesn't get anything they want back or receive back, I guess he's trying to say. But on the flip side, too, that's what a pygmisha is as well. And a lot of people get those definitions confused. And I wanted to talk about that because pygmisha is the same person, just in reverse. She gives, and she's not receiving. So I just wanted to highlight that. But I do have a
Mhm.
question too. Now, EO, do looks matter more than game in today's time?
Well, looks are part of your game, so they're not like they don't stand apart. So part of a person's game is their presentation, and so looks matter. Looks, I say this is how I explain looks. Looks make people go, hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's all looks do. It doesn't really go beyond that because then sex appeal comes in because you could be good looking, but then if your behavior's off, the way you speak, the way you make people feel, if you're too selfish, if you're all about yourself, if you're too needy, again, that desperate energy, then it don't matter how pretty you are or how sexy you are, people will be turned off to you. So looks are the are the first step. I would call
Okay.
looks first. Looks are first. They're not the most important, but they're first, the first part of the equation. Just like if you go to a nightclub, you have to be a certain age because as they look at it, if you're 21 years old, you might be more mature enough to come in here. Also, there's a dress code at clubs, so some clubs won't let you in if you got sneakers and jeans on, so you got to go home and change. Some restaurants don't let you in without a blazer on, like a jacket, because they have a brand to uphold. So looks do matter, definitely, but they're not the end all be all. But you have to be attractive, not just physically, but with your behavior and your mentality.
So, what would you say would be the biggest factor, or the most value that would add the most value to a man? Excuse me, to a man's life. And I actually had down looks, money, or attitude. Which one would have the most value if it was at a peak? If all were at a peak,
If all were at a peak, which one is the most value between looks? You said looks, money, and what was the last one?
attitude.
Okay, so without the proper attitude, you'll be ugly physically and you'll lose all your money.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would say that your attitude, which is an extension of your mind, your mindset, has to be number one priority because what starts inside eventually comes outside. So if you got a messy mind, then that means you got a messy home, you got a messy car, you got a messy neighborhood, you got a messy bank account, your dick is messy, your pussy's messy, your friendships are messy. Everything is messy. Your credit score is messy. So everything starts inside. So it would be for me, it'd be the mentality. And then after that, I would say I would prefer men to have money. Although, see, when I think of looks, I think of two separate entities. I think of your physical appearance, and then I think of like how your body is actually functioning. I would prefer men and women be well bodied, like meaning like your organs are functioning at a high level. You don't have high blood pressure. Like a lot of people go to the gym or they starve themselves, but yet if they go get a blood test, it's going to come back all wacky. So I think that like they go hand in hand, but you got to prioritize your inner health too. So mindset. And then I would say looks, because I know how superficial society is. So if you got the look down and the mindset, if you got the mindset down and you're value driven, and then on top of it, you're a good looking motherfucker or a pretty woman, then doors of opportunity will open up for you.
Okay. Now, EO, I don't know if you classify yourself as a PUA or game coach or whatever. I don't know what what's your title, but
Mhm.
if a guy comes to you, seeking advice, will he instantly be a pussy slayer after that?
No,
Okay. Because
no,
because
yeah.
a lot of guys, they come in, to the coaches because, they're looking for a certain result, right?
hmm Yeah, yeah. I think many of men's the results they want are unreasonable,
Mm.
and I think it's unreasonable. So I don't like to sell people a dream. I'm not a lying dating coach. I'm not a biased dating coach. What works for me it's most likely not going to work for you. I don't want to mislead people because I got to sleep at night, and I care about the nature of my soul. So and so I won't lie to people. What the things that I've done in my career, my tenure in the dating game, most men will never be able to accomplish. Um,
Wow.
um, and so, but I not tell them that, like, you're not going to be able to do what I do. So in reality, I'm actually trying to help men desire women less. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want them to desire women or have women, but I want them to be less needy for women. And I'm more interested in the man owning himself, owning
So,
his life, self sufficient. Most of the men that are here in this space, if you did a little digging, these motherfuckers are sleeping on raggedy ass mattresses.
uh-oh.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
that their money's all fucked up.
mm.
They're highly emotional.
Oh,
They
Mm.
got triggers galore. Everything bothers them.
eh.
They're not open minded. And so, how the hell you think you're ready for a woman, bro? You're not even ready for yourself yet. And so that's my thing.
Mhm.
Can I get you ready for you, brother, first? And if I could get you respecting you and feeling you, then naturally the women are going to feel you.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. A lot of people don't understand that it comes from their inner first. You can't do anything unless you get into self. It have to be inward first before there's an outward. But go ahead, Danny. Did you want to say something, or I'll continue on?
Yes. What is the biggest complaint that you hear from men about women?
Well, one of them. Well, when I get guys one on one, I don't hear a lot of complaining about women, if any. What I hear is really them complaining about themselves. Okay. Because I don't think I attract that kind of energy to begin with. I think I do attract men that genuinely want to be better men and actually better lovers. Okay.
Mm.
But when it comes to like the community, like what you get in the comment section and all that, you're going to get a mixed bag. So the one thing you'll hear is like the game has changed. Women have too many options. Definitely don't date American women. Go overseas. Get your passport and all that. So I disagree with all of that.
I
I
was
feel like
getting
if
ready to
you're,
ask you, how do
yeah,
you feel
yeah.
about those types of things? Because that is prevalent
Mhm.
throughout our space. You hear Passport Bros, shout out to SYSBM, MGTOW. How do you, and
Mhm.
you said you don't agree with any of that. Why is that?
Well, I don't personally agree with it. However, I do understand why they have to resort to that. So if you're asking me if I disagree with it, if you can't fuck a bitch a block away, it's embarrassing that you got to fly to Japan to fuck a bitch. Okay, to me, that's some embarrassing ass shit. That if you can't fuck the girl next door or the girl down the block past the stop sign, and then but you got to go and jump on a fucking American Airlines or whatever the fuck, and some international flight to go get on some women across the way, then you're a sucker. To me, you're a sucker. However, I still understand. Remember what I said. These men are not going to be able to do what I do. Not, and so I can't expect them to think like a fucking champion like myself. So
Oh.
I have to go to their mindset. I have to go to I got to dig in their background to see why they despise themselves so much. I got to see why they give up after the first try. I got to see why their
So
resilience is so low.
so what issues are you running into when you discuss things like that? Like why do they give up on themselves so easily? What's going on in that aspect?
Again, I would say this. I don't coach men like this a lot. I don't. Um, I've never had somebody hire me to say, "Hey, can you talk me out of the idea that women overseas are better for me than American women?" I've never had anyone in my career as a coach ask me that, and that's because I don't attract that energy because I don't talk about that stuff. So the truth is, I don't have that conversation. Now, if somebody were, those people don't come to me.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I think dating is about who have the advantage. Now, who do you believe have the advantage in dating? What's your
The
opinion?
men, absolutely the man.
Oh man, tell me why.
100%. Um, well, truth be told is but that's not a bad thing that we have. I don't look at that like women are less than and they're inferior to us. That's not where I'm coming from. I just feel that the man is the leader in the situation. He's the strong one. Now, not all men. I mean, this is why most men pedestalize women is because they ain't shit. They don't have a career, they don't have money, they don't have a home that they've created, an environment that they're proud of and that they dwell in. They can't go to sleep at night and wake up happy and content. They can't make breakfast. They don't do their laundry. As pitiful as that sounds, but most men are lazy as fuck today, and they're lonely, and so they pedestalize the woman, and then the woman feels that energy, and she's like, "Yo, dude, I ain't your mama. I gotta take care of you." And so, but when you finally meet a man that is self sufficient, has options, is running his life, in love with his life, romancing all of it, I always say that every man should romance everything, including the woman. Like, I'm for romancing the woman, but can you romance every facet of your life? And what I see is guys will pedestalize women, but will be disrespectful to men, other men, won't even cherish their family, their relationships with their family. Highly, what would I say? How would I describe this? Competitive to a fault. I think it's good for men to be competitive, but if you're competitive to a fault, you'll be a very unhappy man. And so, so in my opinion, though, when my interactions with women I've always been the lead. 100% of the time, I've always been the lead. I say what I want. If I want to fuck a woman, I tell her I'm gonna fuck her. I tell her on the first date, first sit down. I tell her. I told my ex-wife on the first date. We were sitting down having a beer at a little pizzeria. She drove about 40 miles to come see me because I don't drive to women. Women come to me. And so I gave her instructions. I said, "Hey, come see me on Sunday. I got some free time. I want to give it to you." She said, I'd love to come see you. Where do you live?" At that time, I lived in the hood. There was a liquor store across the street, a little Arabian store diagonal from me. She drove her little fancy ass in her BMW. Shout out to her, but she drove and came to the hood and saw me. And we went to this little pizza place. I told her right at the table, when we get back to my place, I'm fucking you, and I did. And so, I mean, if you could just be a confident, assertive man and tell women what it is, uh, there's a good chance she's gonna be down for you.
Now, EO. So
Yeah.
now I know that you said that you like to give guys different results because for yourself, you are top of the food chain, right? You are white guy, you're successful, and you're good looking. So you are top of the food chain, right? So everybody can't have your experience, right? When it comes to the women, right?
That's correct.
Yes. So, and you are aware of your privilege, right?
I mean, look. I mean, look.
You ain't say this man got pretty privileged, did you?
But
Okay.
wait, listen. No, listen. When it comes to
I mean, look. To me, I don't feel privileged. To
listen,
me,
You
I don't.
don't feel privileged?
I do
there
not
is an
know.
attractiveness privilege. Yes, it is. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
well, let me
Yeah.
explain why I don't feel privileged. Because we didn't grow up rich. I had to work since I was 15 years old. I had to hustle all my life. I mean, nothing was given to me. I didn't have a silver spoon. I mean, there wasn't some trust fund waiting for me or something. I've had to earn everything I've gotten. Even when it comes to my appearance, that is something that has to be maintained on a weekly basis. That's actually most of the reasons why most crusty motherfuckers don't even cam up, because they realize that they ain't got it going on like that. In order, I would recommend anybody that has it going on, cam up, because most of the time people don't cam up because they just don't have it going on like that. So for me though, if you ask me, I've worked for everything, so I don't feel like anything was given to me. I'm also not a very large man. I'm 5'7". It's never been a problem for me. Even if it was a problem, I didn't know it was a problem because it's not a problem for me. So,
So
mhm.
the short thing, and I'm so glad you brought that up because that wasn't a question that I had in my list of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you're saying that being at a certain height, it hasn't affected you negatively. You just looked at it as like if you struck out, you struck out.
Hell no, it never affected me. Fuck that. If it did, either one, I didn't care, or two, I was too busy dealing with women that wanted me.
Okay.
See, I just don't believe in focusing on what's not working. Now, there is a time to evaluate and to prepare for things to not go your way, but I more so relate that to business, like running a business. Taking into consideration financial loss, stuff like that. But with a woman, I mean, the fact that you would put a lot of emphasis into the opinion of a woman, I mean, you're kind of a fool.
Well, EO. So basically, you're saying you had so many women throwing their panties at you that you didn't have no time to figure out who wasn't throwing the panties at you.
But here's the thing, though. When I reflect on all the times, or most of the times, that I was successful with women, and by successful, I mean fucking them. Okay, fucking them, getting them to serve me, getting them to come to me, getting them to just talking to a woman is no success for me. I'm talking about when you fuck them, you got them coming to you, bringing you value, giving you money, buying you gifts, giving you submission. That's a win. Just talking to a woman is not a win. So, but when I reflect on all the times that I was successful with a woman, I had to make that shit happen. I didn't sit there like a prima donna sitting at the bar stool and just women just walked up and said, now women would choose, they'd say stuff like, oh my God, your eyes are beautiful. Or do you live around here? Or what do you do for a living? Or, they would just find reasons to talk to me. But I still had to convert that to sex and to building a sustainable connection. It was my responsibility to maintain that, is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you think guys is looking for quality or quantity? What do they want?
They want quality without managerial skills. So they want what they don't qualify to maintain.
Mm, that's a
Okay. And that's very
yes.
immature. That's very immature to want something that you can't sustain. So I'd
Wow.
rather guys I'd rather guys be real with themselves and manage one woman. You see, most guys want to manage five women, but they can't manage one. And before the one, they can't even
True.
manage themselves.
True.
So my number one priority is to derail a man from these delusions that they can't successfully accomplish because they either don't have the skill set, they don't have the mindset, they don't have the emotional capacity to deal with women on a long term basis or even a short term basis. Because in order to deal with women, you have to know how to balance women out. which if you pay attention to men today, or most men, they can't even balance their own emotions out.
Let me ask you this question. How concerned are men about their peers' validation versus actually being with a woman that's sustainable and sufficient?
It's a very large percentage. Men actually want almost more validation than women. I think women are
Wow.
busy trying to make money and trying to get the bag for themselves so they don't have to rely on a sucker. And
Hmm.
and I truly do believe that. I love the fact that women are giving men a hard time today. I love it because it just shows how pussyfied these dudes are. And so I love the fact that these women reject men. I love it. And it should make you better. It should show you that your game is whack. Okay. so so I love the fact that today's woman is hard on men. I want to make sure I say that. I love it. I love when a woman challenges men.
Well, let me ask you this question then. How badly do you think simps have impacted the dating market?
They've ruined it. It's not women, it's men. It's soft men who've allowed women to get away with things that they should have never gotten away with. And so you let a monster out of the laboratory. And I'm not saying that a woman is a monster, but just like any human being, if you give them too much leeway and you let that chain be extended more and extended more and extended more, eventually it'll break off. And now you got this monster just running the streets. So I think everybody has to have certain limitations, certain guidelines to follow, both men and women. But 100% blame simps for the way women have become. But at the same time, though, I love the treatment that women give men. They don't give it to me because like I said, I know myself, and I make sure I know how to talk to women. I know how to make women feel comfortable being a woman. Most women know men are so thirsty for sex that they'll just give up their balls for them.
Wow. Um,
And
Naima, do you,
I could go a year. I got a woman. SNO's in the chat room. I think that's my woman right there. However,
Shout out to
I
SNL.
could go a year without fucking abroad.
So, but it's funny you mention this because women have never been more down with no string sex, right? Yet the number of men struggling to get sex has skyrocketed. Hmm, that that's an imbalance. What's up with that?
I mean, yeah, it just comes down to self awareness. I mean, but again, most men are losers. And I'm not trying to be mean to men. I'm really not. I don't get off on this. This isn't like fun for me to say this, but most men today have no drive. They give up so easily. They're also dreamers. Like I've never seen so many men that are dreamers, like talking
oh,
about, well, I want to
wow.
do this and I want to do that. And I want to start this business. I want to start that business. I'm like, motherfucker, can you maintain a job first before you start having all these dreams? Like they sound like women. I mean, no offense to women. I kind of expect that from a woman to be daydreaming and thinking about fantasies and shit. But that today's man is just like a woman, dreaming about everything, taking all the notes and soaking up all the content, but not actually putting any action behind it. I mean, it's just a bunch of fucking losers, honestly.
Yeah. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much does look matter to women, in your opinion? To women?
A man's looks, you're
Yes.
saying, um, I'll be honest, women value looks for multiple reasons. They care about what their friends think.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to know how much does looks matter to a woman on a scale
nine,
from 1 to 10?
nine,
Nine.
nine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You know
Wow.
how I know this? You know how I know this? Um, because every woman that I've dated always commented on how I looked.
Mm.
They would always
Okay.
say, but your looks are an extension of your behavior, your mannerisms. So how you feel about yourself shows up in how you conduct business, how you go to work on time, how you don't call off, how you don't abuse yourself with narcotics and marijuana and alcohol, how you stick to a schedule. So if somebody tries to invite you to go do something, you actually have the discipline to say, hey, listen, I appreciate the invitation, but I'm gonna have to pass this time, but you guys be safe and enjoy yourselves. This is part of the look. The behavior and the look to me go hand in hand. And so if if you can keep your look polished physically, and then on top of it be a sound man, you can your opportunities with women are plentiful.
So, hmm. Okay.
So
Go ahead, Naima, because I
okay.
did have
Um,
a follow
it's
up
all right, but
question.
segue into this question. So, what percentage do you think LMS matters? Meaning your looks, your money, and your status. What will be on the top? Like, if you want to do one, two, three, or what percentage you think plays an important part from the greatest to least?
Well, they're all important. So, I mean, from greatest to least, well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, companies want to hire good looking, energetic, well spoken people. So, if you walk in and you're busted, and you haven't put a lot of emphasis into your presentation and appearance, I mean, they're gonna talk to you and then dismiss you. So, I mean, looks definitely matter, not just for women, but just for, to open doors of opportunity. Most people want good looking, young, energetic, well spoken, teamwork mentality type people around. So, looks matter. Money matters. I mean, do you want to help your family if something happens? Do you want to be charitable? I mean, do you want to be able to go to the Bahamas next month for a quick getaway? And not have it even affect your bank account. Looks matter, money matters. Now, I would say honestly, social proof and status are the least important of the three, but they are
Mm.
necessary.
Let me. So, would you? W- okay, because my question is interesting to me.
Mm.
Would you say there's a shortage of good-looking women in the United States?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, because here's why I say that. I'm focusing on what I like rather than what I don't like. And I try to
Mm.
teach people to focus on what you prefer rather than what you don't prefer.
Well, law of
And
attraction.
well, not even that. I mean, I don't even, I mean, sure, that could be a reference to that, but I am of the belief that you should focus on what you want rather than what you don't want.
I think
So
that's
if
a good
so I
point.
don't see ugly women, because if I see a woman that's not my preference, I don't look at her anymore. And I'm
Okay.
certainly not going to go turn my camera on and start talking shit. So like but if I
Hey,
see a woman, so if
yeah.
I see a woman that I like, then that's different. And then now we have to see if lifestyles are not conflicting. Does she follow my lead? Is she ready for a man like me? So there's going to be a conversation that is needed next after I've seen that maybe the look is up to par. So now we have to see what her character is like, what her behavior is like, where her mindset is. And if at that point I can see that she's suitable to move forward with me, then that's where I go. But once I see either a dude or a man, even friends or networking with potential business opportunities, if I start to see that you're lazy or you're unstructured or you're undisciplined, I won't do business with you, but I won't have to shun you either.
And
Mm.
I like to touch on that, EO, because you made a good point. You said if I don't look at nothing that I'm not interested in, because a lot of men will complain, especially about black women. Here, black women, you're fat, you're overweight, you got a weave, you got your eyelashes, you're this, you're that. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
those are unhappy men. Those are unhappy men.
but so my thing is like,
That's interesting.
so
That's
Those
why
are
are
really
unhappy men.
interesting.
Yeah.
so why are the men holding on to things that they don't want, right? If the woman doesn't wear a weave, why are you looking at the women that have a weave? You would kind of look past her, right? Like where are your blinders at?
Because he doesn't have the woman without the weave. See, if you have the woman of your, if you have your preference at your beck and call, your desire to bash a woman that is not your preference doesn't exist. So a sure indication of a man that is losing in life and losing with women is a guy that is bashing women. I mean,
Well,
it's the way it is.
let me ask you this because you did have a title and I didn't get a chance
Let
to
me say
watch the
one last
video.
thing.
Oh,
Hold
I'm
on to that thought.
sorry.
Let me say this. If you have a bad relationship with money, Like, for example, you'll hear some people say, "Oh, here we go again. All they do is talk about money." I already know they have a bad relationship with money because they said that. They either get money, don't keep money, or cannot build on the money they have. They make poor investments, okay? Or they're undisciplined with their money, and then they spend money that they don't have. So, but if I hear somebody talking with respect about money, then I know that person has a good relationship with money. You understand? So that's
Yep,
what
it's
I'm
all
here to
telling.
say.
I
That's
feel
what
you.
I'm here to say. So if you have a good relationship with yourself, you have a good relationship with money, you have a good relationship with your community, for example, you have a good relationship with colleagues, and you have a good relationship women. What is there to complain about?
Now I'm not.
That's a
Now
good
I'm not
point.
right because it's like we understand that there will be complaints on the men's side and the women's side, right? So no one's not knocking those things because no one's perfect, right? We all have hangups and of the such, right? But
I mean, shit, my life's pretty perfect, but yeah.
okay, well,
I mean, even in the imperfect moments, it's still perfect because there's opportunity for me to get better at something. So, it's
right.
just, I can't call myself champion game unless I think like this. So, I mean, and I expect people to rebel. I expect people to call me names and shit. I expect that. But at the end of the day, you don't have my money. You don't have my swag. You don't have my mentality. You don't have my bitches. And so you don't have what I have. So sit over there with the gutter mindset. Continue
Are
Yeah.
to
you
hate yourself.
also in an open relationship?
I am not in an open relationship.
Okay.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts for having a girlfriend on a 1099 contract? Because Kevin Samuels mentioned this on his show. Now, I'm not knocking it. Now, would you recommend something like that, like to your
I know.
subscribers,
I know what. I
clients,
know
or
what.
any man? A
A
1099
1099.
contract.
What's
1099
that?
contract. Yeah. So there's a 1099 contract
Oh, when
basically.
they work for you, right? When they work for you.
No, so he wants to contract out his girlfriends. So basically, maybe for 6 months to a year,
Oh, I
they
see.
were in a 1099. And I'm not knocking it. Shout out to Kevin Samuels for that.
Mhm.
But would you recommend that to your subscribers and clients or any man?
Okay, so to reiterate something I said earlier, I wouldn't do that. However, I understand if other men do.
Okay.
So if Kevin does that, Kevin is doing what's best for him. And so and look, again, would I go overseas to fuck some chick I don't know in Brazil? Hell no. Okay, because my dick is too important to me and my time. Okay, so but do I understand with a dude that despises himself and gives up when something doesn't go his way, he just gives up, and then he seeks out communities to enable his defeatist mindset. I could understand why he's booking airline tickets to go to third world countries. So I
Oh, wow.
understand it, but I don't subscribe to it.
Wow.
Okay. Now,
Uh,
are you now if a guy want to spend money on hoes, prostitutes, or whatever you want to call it, do you
Mhm.
knock those kind of guys, or would you say, hey, to each his own? How you feel about that?
I'm neutral about it. I'm
Okay.
neutral about it because I think people will do what they see is best for them. Again, are you asking me if I'm gonna do it? No, because all I got to do is check the mailbox and a bitch is whistling. So for me, no. Okay. However, I understand if a dude gives up on himself and doesn't have the right supporting, cast, doesn't have the right friends, hey, look, if something goes in your mind, I have clients that try to give me manosphere rhetoric when I'm coaching them. And I'm like, yo, don't bring me that bullshit, bro. I don't talk a feminist. What the fuck is a feminist? Like, I have to ask this question. What the fuck is a feminist? I don't know what that is. I see, you know what I see? A fucking female. I don't see nothing else but a female because no matter what she is, I'm still the man. No matter what she says.
Now,
As a
I
matter of
think
fact,
that's a very
yeah,
interesting
I don't
point.
know what a fucking feminist is. I see a
So,
female. You know what I see? I see a female that wants someone to understand her, someone just to listen to her, someone to at least give her a little time to express herself. And every man should allow that for a woman. That don't mean you got to buy into it. That doesn't mean you got to co-sign it, but let the bitch talk.
So, what about feminism? You may not necessarily
I don't know
subscribe.
what that is. My
Okay.
life is operating like great. And so if I start thinking about feminism and feminists and MGTOW and black pill and red pill, you about to fuck up my program. My program is dope as shit because I'm single-minded and I'm thinking about myself and those closest to me. The second I open the door to a bunch of clowns, now I become a clown.
Do you think it's necessarily them being clowns or men that have actually been affected by a certain system?
Everyone is affected by life. Get over it. Learn from it and move the fuck on and don't repeat that mistake again.
Yeah,
I don't feel sorry for men that want to sit here and regurgitate and recycle all the hardships they had in their life. Like, grab your fucking nuts and move on.
Okay.
now let's play a game, EO. Let's play a game of would you
Layla, what kind
rather.
of game we getting ready to play, girl?
We're gonna do would you rather, and I want to ask Coach EO, would he rather have confidence or looks?
Well, since I have to pick, I'm gonna pick confidence.
Confidence, okay. Would you
But
rather have money
Mhm.
or status?
Money for sure.
Okay. Would
Because
you
I'm gonna
rather?
cycle, and here I'll tell you why, so I can educate everybody. Because a man knows that every relationship, whether it be business or romance, is gonna cycle through. And so you're gonna who you network now, you may not be networking with in 6 months. But with money, shit, I could turn that money and invest that money how I see fit. So I always say that relationships are have an expiration date. So that's why I choose money because I already know intuitively and I'm already forecasting that relationship, whether it be business or romance, to run its course. And then it has to transition to something else. And sometimes when it transitions, the two of you have to depart.
Okay. Now, would you rather have the luxury car or the big house?
A big house.
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather, I mean, and here's why. Ghetto thinking is let's get a nice car. That's ghetto talk.
Mhm.
But you have to be concerned about your shelter and the roof over your head and protection. Every man is thinking about, especially if you got something to lose. So you want to have your home secure. So
Okay.
so home comes before a car. That's ghetto talk.
All right. Now,
Okay.
would you rather be great looking or tall?
Great looking. Well, it's you could be tall and look
You gotta
retarded.
choose. You gotta
Okay,
choose
you could
one.
be tall and look like Gumby and look like fucking Luke Longley walking around and shit. So, in my opinion, I'd rather you said what was that? You said it was tall or what was the other one?
Or great looking.
Oh yeah, great looking.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
would you rather be red pill or blue pill? Excuse me.
Neither. And neither.
You you gotta choose
Neither.
one. You
If
gotta
I
choose
gotta call
one.
myself a pill, I got a long way to go.
You gotta choose one.
I'll take blue.
Okay.
Give me blue just for the red pill softies. I'll take blue. Give me blue.
Okay. Would you
Yeah.
would you rather have a jawline or be tall?
Jawline.
Okay. Would you rather be in corporate or be an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur for sure. Yeah. But I
Okay.
think you have to be corporate first before you become an entrepreneur. I think it's useful too.
Now, Danny, do you have any rathers for him?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, and I heard, it's funny because I heard there was a study going on, right? There's a study going on. They were doing a study with the mice, and basically they're coming up with this spermless reproduction, right? And they're trying to get sperm through like cells. So, in a sense that women wouldn't need men to produce children, right? But the funny thing is that the men in a sense is making themselves obsolete. It's like we're creating these different things which is further separating, men and women, the sexes. I find that very interesting. But yeah, that's just
The truth is, honestly, man, women today don't like y'all dudes. Like, can we just call it what it is? You dudes don't have it going on like that. It's obvious. Women do not like men today. They don't. You guys will use them. You'll take their attention. You'll take their validation. You'll take their Red Lobster. You might even get your pussy eaten by one. But you guys don't like a lot of these dudes. I'm just being.
yeah.
I don't know. You tell me. You
But
tell me.
women are becoming more picky, whereas they couldn't be before, right? You had to, basically have your husband. Your husband would take care of you, and you had no say so, right? Because it was the security there, right? Security
You
in
know what I
having the
find
man.
so interesting? You know what I find so interesting is that dudes really think that they have a submissive woman waiting off in some third world country for them. Do you know that those women are
Put your
living in
name on it.
constant? Those women are living in constant desperation. So they have to develop a game to sucker dudes. They think the good behavior that they give men is genuine. It's to survive, fam. Do you want a woman to want you because she needs you to fucking extend her life, or to want you because she's genuinely attracted to you?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, yeah, it's in a sense that we have all these pills: the red pill, blue pill, black pill, all these different pills, and a lot of men will say that, well, women are going to choose who they're going to want, or who they're going to choose who they're going to want to choose, which is the 20% of men, basically the good-looking men, right?
Not necessarily, not just the good-looking men, the masculine men. The
From
men the men that are masculine, and part of masculinity is there's several layers to it. It's understanding women, it's knowing how to manage them, it's learning when to say no, but also learning when to say yes. It's teaching them, it's guiding them, it's putting them on game. Women want to be with men that are better than them. And today's woman, in many ways, are better than today's man.
yeah,
I'm just telling you the truth. You don't have to like it. Y'all can call me names all you want.
yes,
I'm telling
yeah,
you the truth. So you
yeah.
know what I find interesting about people that give themselves a red pill label? When you tell them anything conflicting with their theology, they get very defensive, which tells me they're not settled in their truth. I'm telling you right now that most women today feel superior to men.
Now, I know we have a lot of talk in this space about women with the high body count. I hear this all the time. Men, high body count, high body count. Now, are men only concerned about a woman's high body count after he already contributed to the count? Like, meaning when they are younger, right? They don't care as much about any body count. But once they become older, meaning I'll say 30 and up, it becomes a concern.
I mean, it's a contradiction and a double standard. I mean, I look at it this way, and I've said this many times. Let's say I'm talking to two women. One woman fucked 30 dudes, and she fucked 30 guys that taught her nothing. Then she just tricked off her pussy. And to me, she doesn't qualify to be in my presence. That's number one. Let's say I talked to another woman who fucked 30 men, and 15 of those men actually taught her some shit about life, put her on some game, taught her to respect masculinity, to also respect her own femininity. I can fuck with that. That's some experience that I can leverage and even enhance. So to me, it comes back to, what did you learn from your experience? If you didn't learn anything, or you just out here taking shots and just being a goddamn fool, and I'm talking to women right now, then you tricked off your pussy and you have made yourself worthless. However, if you've been out here in the game getting scuffed up a little bit, but you have been subjected to some men that took some time out to teach you something, then I can take that experience and leverage it and even enhance it.
Okay. So, Coach EO, so when you hear a guy saying that I want a woman that's submissive, what are you hearing? What do you hear when a guy say that? I want a woman that's submissive. What do you hear?
I hear a man that doesn't have a program. I hear a man that's just talking. Because truth be told, is a man who knows what he's doing doesn't have to desire submission. She just gives it to him. It's not something that you have to demand or request. You just will feel the submission of that woman.
Okay. So do you so I know that a lot of men in this space say that American women lack that submissiveness that other women, other countries possess.
That's the biggest bunch of bullshit I ever heard. There's women out here that if you know how to pick a woman and you respect yourself, the women, man, I've had women drop off anything I want, drive 60, 80 miles, fly 900 miles to come me. I don't pay for shit. And this is why I say that clearly, my experience, I'll tell guys off rip, you'll never experience this. You'll never experience this. And so if you got to go trick or whatever, I understand. Go trick, man. Go to a fucking Oriental spa and get a massage and let her play with your little weenie. But, like to me, I have women that are have done, they'll drive to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. They will wake up out of a deep sleep to bring me some fucking Pepto Bismol. Meanwhile, your bitches won't even fucking talk to you nice.
Now, do you think that today's modern women is just because the men say that it's a lost cause for the women of today? It's a lost cause. Do you believe that?
Lost cause because because men are underperforming as men. That's why it's a lost cause. And I think women has experienced that. They say these dudes ain't shit. So now I have to become a man. So I have to hustle, get my money, take care of myself. That I'm not saying they're happy doing that. I think they're miserable doing that. I think they convince themselves they're happy. There's a lot of distracting going on. So you could distract yourself from unhappiness. It doesn't last long, but you can have your little getaways. And so, but I think today's woman has seen that most men ain't shit. And then so they've decided to take matters into their own hands.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about the degrees? A lot, they're saying that these women come with their degrees that, I'm a PhD, I'm a PhD, as they say. So how do you feel about a woman coming with a degree?
I don't mind it. I mean, put it this way again, it comes back to, you can't be in two places at once. So if you're off earning a degree and focused on your studies, then you're not getting relationship experience, most likely. So what'll happen is you'll get your degree, but then you'll want a man, but then you don't know the first thing about maintaining or attracting a man, keeping a man, because you lack that experience, but you have the plaque on the wall versus a woman that might not have extended education, but she's spent some time dealing with men. She may have learned a thing or two about how men tick. So to me, I'm not looking at it from a feeling standpoint. I don't care about your diploma or lack thereof. I care about what type of mindset do you have and what kind of experience do you have to bring to me that I can leverage and blossom so we can thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I want to go to the super chat. Shout out to Eugene Steele for the $5 super chat. Hey, Eugene. He says, Coach EO, have you had any clients who were 50 or older? If so, what do they tell you?
I definitely have clients that are 50 and over. Many of the same stories. I mean, I'll be honest, the 50-year-old man is not that different from the 25-year-old man emotionally. Financially, he may be more stable, but emotionally, they're not that different.
Maybe, right? Maybe more stable. That's the big question mark there.
In most cases, they are. In most cases. I'm not going to undermine that. Most of the guys first of all, I charge a premium for my time. So, it's not like you could just walk in the door. Getting me is not that easy. So, but for the most part, those that do hire me in their 50s, they are abundant financially, but they are immature emotionally.
And so I'm gonna read the super chat first. Shout out to DJ Nav for the $5 super chat. He says, Today's women want to be with men who look better than them. Most US men are already have been better than them. The men are just realizing it now. Um,
I mean, I don't know about the look standpoint because I think women are too insecure. Sometimes women can be too insecure. I wish more women would feel confident around a very good looking man, but that's not always the case. Sometimes women will go with a beta male or a less attractive man so she can be pedestalized, so she can feel good about herself. Shit, you know how hard it is for a woman to stay good looking? It's not easy. And so sometimes a woman wants a break from that, and so she'll go with like some fat dude that she don't have to worry about for like 3 months, so she could go on a hiatus emotionally because she's tired. But then when she gets her power back, or when the summer comes, then she dumps that motherfucker, and then she goes for the guy she really wants.
oh, that's yeah. So would you say that when like in the dating market, basically that a lot of guys that are incels, are they doomed to basically not getting women? Because I'm hearing, because for myself, I'm hearing that more and more. There's a lot of guys who are incels, more than people would like to admit, and that these guys can't be helped.
Well, if they say they can't be helped, I believe them. So if you tell me I can't be helped, I'm gonna say you're right. I agree with that. So, good luck to you. I mean, I'm not here to try to convince a guy that says he's finished. If you're finished and you've bought into that and you believe that, then I believe you.
No, I'm not saying that the guy is saying that, but I'm hearing that more and more, basically on YouTube, that
Mhm.
there are an abundance of incel men, um, and they seek out, PUAs or dating coaches or whatever you want to call it, to give them game. And I guess my question would
Mhm.
be, do you think game can help those guys who are incels, who are looks challenged?
Well, looks challenged. I mean, it depends. I mean, can if you're do you have a deformity? Like if are we talking deformities or just a recessed jaw? Like I need to know the difference. Are we talking about somebody who looks like a monster when you look at them, or somebody that just has some poor genetics? Like, and maybe has a soft chin or a big nose or whatever. Like, it all depends. I mean, I'll say this: game can only take you so far. I mean, attraction matters. Attraction matters. I mean, you can't be a real ugly dude and the woman is not attracted to you and think you're going to run game on her and it's going to work. Um, Attraction matters. It does with everything. So, is
Oh,
it over for an incel? It all depends. I mean, it all depends. I mean, look, if you're 5'2", if you're 5'2", it's going to be hard for you. And I'm going to tell you flat straight away. I'm not going to lie to you and say, hey, there's a guy in a wheelchair that's getting pussy. I don't give a fuck. If you're 5'2", you better be dating a woman that's 4'11".
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. So if you, whatever height you are, do you think that the guy need to drop down some inches for another woman that's way shorter than him? Or do you think that the guy's going to say, sky's the limit? I want to get that Amazon that's 5'9", 5'10"?
I think sometimes people want things they know they don't qualify for just so they can stay in a defeatist mindset.
Okay.
And even women will push the needle and want men they know they don't qualify for just so they can stay stuck in that desolate place, because that beats having to put in the work or actually having to put her ego aside and having to accept what she truly does qualify for. So I think sometimes people will on purpose exceed what they know they qualify for just so they can stay in that mindset.
I agree with that. I do believe a lot of people want basically something better than themselves. And that's definitely true on both sides. Yeah, because it's like if you have something better than yourself, you can, that's that ego boost there. Like, look what I got going on over here.
You have to remember that if you want something, it comes with management. anytime you have anything, I mean, even women, they want dogs, but they don't want to walk the dog. They don't want to pick up its shit. They don't want to
Mhm.
exercise it. They don't want to train it, but they just want a dog to take pictures with on Instagram. Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot.
Or
And
they
so,
want
you know,
the relationship so that they can take pictures of their partners on on Instagram as well.
yeah, I mean,
Meanwhile, the
it's
relationship is
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
And I think men are also wanting that. They want the entrepreneurial job. They want to be a CEO. They want to be a boss. Yet they don't realize that you have to work 24 hours. I mean, maybe 24 hours a day is excessive, but for me, I'm always thinking about what my next move is going to be. I mean, you have to work 3 times harder if you're running a business versus if you work for somebody else. And so I think people want things ignorantly in an ignorant fashion, and they don't realize the responsibility of obtaining that.
Right. Because the need make
Both sexes are doing this. Men and
yeah,
women are doing this.
yeah. Because once you right, because there's upkeep, as you stated before, right? There's an upkeep in with the woman you choose or the man that you choose, right? But a lot,
There's upkeep with everything.
but it's funny because
Maintenance. Mm.
right. So a lot of guys will say, and I'm curious at this point. Oh, I don't want my woman to have no makeup, no this, no that, no this or no that. To me, I don't hear any upkeep there. When I hear men do a whole scroll, they pull out the scroll of what they don't want from their woman, which to me equals to me no upkeep, in my opinion. That's
I
just
think
my
it's important.
opinion.
I think it's important to have preferences. So you have to have your preferences. Um, so I'm not going to call a man wrong if he wants his woman to look a certain way. I think if that's what he wants, then that's what he should voice.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me get to this super chat. Javon Thompson, appreciate your super chat, your $5 super chat. He says men should take his advice and start asking women questions like, what did you learn from all those trains? Did Pookie teach you about crypto? Hmm. So if you think women are running trains, wow. Okay.
I think men just don't want women to explore sexuality, to figure out who they are. In order to have preferences, you have to have experiences. And now, clearly, you could experience too much and ruin yourself. I I teach this all the time. You can go in a direction too long, and there's no way you're turning back. Like, you've gone into that direction so long that even if you turn around, you can't find your way back. And I do believe that both men and women can ruin themselves if you stay on a certain road long enough, and then you just get like, you have bought into that, like you have grown a severe addiction for that, you're fucked. In many cases, you're fucked. But I mean, I just see guys that just don't want women to live at all, don't want to get fucked. You want a good blowjob, but you want a virgin to give you a good blowjob. It doesn't exist, pal.
Yeah. 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 They want the virgin to give them the good blow job, bust it open with the split, right?
And you know what's gonna happen too? You know
Doing
what's gonna
tricks,
happen too?
doing
You know what's
tricks
gonna
on
happen?
it.
Mhm. You know what's gonna
Yeah.
happen too? You'll find these guys that want virgins, and then they'll get bored with the virgin, and then cheat on the virgin.
And leave her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree with that. So do you believe that a lot of people are unhappy, men and women? They basically are unhappy because they can't get the person who they truly want. This goes for men and women. They're not happy because the person who they want don't want them.
yes, I do. I do think that that exists. Yes, I do think that that exists. Yes,
And the reason
but
I'm asking that,
YouTube is kind of it's a venting opportunity for a lot of people. If you talk to a lot of these people in real life, they're completely different, and so you shouldn't take what you hear on YouTube too seriously. I think people come here to vent. I think they come here for entertainment. I think they come here to be simps. Um, but if you were to catch these people in real life and observe them, they probably live a very different life.
yeah. Now, do you think because they say that the average man makes about 40K a year in salary? Now, do you believe that does that contribute to any, I guess, unhappiness when it comes to men and relationships? Meaning, like, in a sense, that to the man that's making the 40,000, is he happy within the confines of the woman that he could attract?
I know plenty of men that make 45,000 dollars a year, and they have relationships that are very enjoyable for them. They live within their means. They have hobbies that they both enjoy together. So I don't think it's really about the money. I know plenty of men who make 45,000. She might make the same or less, and they live very modest lives, and they're very content. And in many cases, they're happier than people who make six figures.
Okay. Now, would you say that a broke guy is happy? A broke man happy?
Now, I've met some men that just did not desire the hustle and bustle of getting into, business and making a bunch of money, and they just don't desire it. I just coached a guy who paid me and said, "Coach, I just don't want to do all those things. I'm happy with my 9 to 5, my factory job. I like to come home and play music on my guitar, lift weights, and just kind of just relax. I don't desire to do all of that." And he has women. Like, he has women that want him.
Okay. Now, so what would you say to the guys or recommend to the guys who feel as though that now these are to the guys who feel this way that basically that the dating market is trash in a sense. They say that the dating market is trash. I can't find anybody, that I could settle down with or marry or whatever they want to do. What would you say to those guys?
Can you repeat that question? I was
So
reading the chat room, and I didn't hear you.
oh, okay. I'm asking like what would you say to the guys who
Mhm.
who feels though that this dating market is trash? They feel as though like I'm giving up. It's trash. There's nobody for me. What would you tell those guys? Or
I
what would
don't
you
want.
recommend
I
for
do
them to
not
do?
want. Yeah, good question. I do not want men to become reliant on a woman to bring them happiness.
Mm,
I don't. I frown upon it. Actually, I want men to be self sufficient. I would love from every man to be money makers. I mean, I'm a money maker. I've always loved to make money. I have a great relationship with money. I'm financially stable. But I can't force that upon anybody else. But one thing I definitely don't want men to do is to become needy for a woman in any regard. I also teach men to not become fixed on a woman's beauty. So do not choose her for beauty. Choose not for outer beauty. Choose her for the communication the two of you have. How well do you gel? Does she listen to you? Does she follow your lead? Do you care about what's important to her too? I mean, I think a man needs to have courtesy for the women he deals with.
yeah.
I, if you do not have courtesy for women, you will always lose with women. Having courtesy for people doesn't mean you're a simp.
Yeah, I
So
think men are very afraid of the word simp. This simp is like light to a vampire when it comes to this space. They're like simp, the light, the light, the light. But let me get to the super chat because Keith J, he sent a $5 super chat. He says, I appreciate how EO is answering questions directly instead of going all around the world like most other people in the space and YouTube in general.
mm,
Shout out to
yeah,
Keith J. Yeah, so yeah, and then a lot, and I think, and a lot of guys, and I think a lot of men today need mentorship. I know that they may look at it as something that like I don't need another man's help, but a lot of men do need mentorship because one, their father wasn't in their life,
mhm.
um, and they need like it's very important and I think and I believe it can go a long way because if you do have a mentor outside of not having the father, right, then then you wouldn't rely so much on like another man's opinion. In a sense, you can, you can get their opinion, but you're not using it as a Bible, right? It's only, you're only going off what you already know, right? Maybe confirming some things you knew already. But I believe that a lot of
Yeah.
men do need mentorship.
Yes, you do, but just for a time, because at some point then you have to let go of the mentor too, and then you have to go into like self-discovery. You have to figure out what truly works for you and what truly makes you happy, and then commit yourself to that. Because sometimes if you have a mentor, at some point, if you're with a mentor too long, it can actually work against you. So I think for a time, it's good to have mentorship, but then you should be in the process of self-discovery and figure things out for yourself.
Yeah, but there's a lot of and I believe that even when men, and even to gain like a mentorship, right? Because there's a lot of free courses in that. There's a lot of especially in someone's city, it's really free. But I think that we don't take the time out to get that information. We just want to,
Mm,
we want the easy way out. And even in relationship, there's no easy way out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
starting in the relationships, and just basically, as you said before, knowing self first. Get yourself together. Get yourself squared away first, so that way, when you are open to a relationship, you're well equipped to deal with it.
I mean, what I coach men to do is to focus on settling into a career or a trade, and become, be a self motivated man and take care of yourself. Never move in with a woman. Always have your own place. I frown upon. I moved in with a woman when I married her, when we got married, and ever since then I've never done it. I had my own place before I met her, and I just made a decision, and I learned from it. Don't frown upon it. Don't wish my ex-wife anything negative. I hope she's doing well. But when I coach men, I say, hey, figure out what you're going to do. You're probably going to do something you don't want to do until eventually you really do discover and settle into something you really enjoy doing. Don't seek out the dream job early. You're going to have to do some jobs that maybe aren't ideal just to get the game, to be around management, to observe, to ask questions, and then eventually over time, then you'll have the necessary skills to go out there and branch out and kind of create something for yourself. But I see too many men out here thirsty for women, but they're not thirsty for building a life for themselves. I want
Mm.
men to make money, to get their own place, to have good credit, to know they qualify for loans if they need one, business loans. Um, I want men to not be needy for women in any regard, absolutely nothing. So that way, when you deal with them, you're not dealing with them from a place of desperation, but more so just to have companionship, to express yourself from the masculine viewpoint, so she can express herself from the feminine viewpoint. I think that is the ideal situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't be thirsty for women in a sense. Be kind of thirsty for life, thirsty for yourself.
Yes, but also don't be naive to think that you shouldn't include women into that equation. They should be in it, but they should be last.
Okay. Yeah. Now, will you ever get married, EO?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
I'm not. I mean, yeah, yeah. Why? I mean, I'm running my relationships, so I don't fear marriage. I don't fear divorce. I don't fear none of that.
Okay. Because
I
there's
run my relationship.
okay. Listen.
Only men that fear marriage and divorce are men that don't know how to run relationships.
Okay.
Now, I'm not an advocate for marriage. I don't tell men go off and get married. I don't advocate that. But
Okay.
I think as long as you are managing yourself and managing your woman in the relationship, you don't have to worry about things like that.
And I think that's fair. And I believe that because a lot of men in this space, they don't want the marriage thing. And it's not to knock them, right? But don't knock the ones who want it either. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I know I have very good examples around me of prosperous marriages. It's not my fault that everywhere y'all look in the chat room or wherever, all you see is failure. All you see is despair. All you see is complaining. So it's understandable that you would regurgitate what you see and you would believe what you see. See, but I see examples of success. My brother has been married to his wife. They've been together since they were 15, 16 years old. They have two sons who are Division One athletes, who are college graduates. One's an architect. The other one is just now getting into his career. Uh, I see, and my brother and his wife are very happy together. So
Okay.
I see successful marriages.
Yeah.
If you see nothing but unsuccessful marriages, I could understand why you frown upon it.
Yeah,
I
and I agree. I
and
agree
really
with
I
that.
should and really and I'll throw it back to you. I should frown upon marriage. I should, but I don't. If you look at it, I got divorced. It didn't work out. Why am I not frowning upon it? Because it begins and ends with me. I put myself I put the flashlight on me. Why did I get married? I made a decision. I own my decision. I
Yeah.
accept the consequences of my actions, no matter how they come. I deal with it.
Yeah. And I think, and a lot of guys that I do hear, who's unsure of marriage, I find that they
Mhm.
are younger. They're in their 20s, in their early 30s, so they don't truly know yet. They don't, they haven't really truly decided what they wanted for themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's understandable because I mean, even when you're 30, I mean, as a man, I think you should at 30, I think you should know where you're headed. I always say that men should work their asses off from the age of, well, from the working age, but let's just say 18 to 40. I think men should be working relentlessly, or should be, unrelentless, with their work ethic, and then they should actually begin to splurge more once they're like 40 and beyond.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you have time to, if I open up the chat for
Yeah, go
some?
ahead, drop the link. Yeah, let's get some people in here.
All right, so we're going to drop the link. If anyone wanted to jump on, we would definitely like your opinion. EO is open to that.
Well,
Okay.
I did have some questions for EO.
Oh,
I thought
Did,
she
did you
took off.
forget? I think she
I thought
forgot
I
I was
scared you
here.
off.
I,
I said, well, damn, okay.
I'm sorry.
Let Naima do her thing, honey.
Go ahead.
Um,
I'd like to hear your questions.
okay. Social media apps, how do you
Mm.
feel they've affected the current dating market?
It all depends on your mindset. So if you so I mean you have access to women worldwide now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like back in the day. See, I had notes going in my locker. Women would sneak notes in my locker, and we would write love letters and shit. Women. I didn't do it, but women did that. And so I feel like you have access to all types of women now. I think your game has to be super tight and you have to be very focused on what you want in order to be successful here. Because if you entertain a lot of this bullshit, you'll waste your time and you'll get very frustrated, which leads to spaces like this where you're trying to find answers. And then, you meet some content creators that can be helpful to you. And you meet some content creators that have the same complaints that you do. So in my mind, you have to be very focused when you use social media. You have to know exactly what you're looking for, and don't waste time.
So, do you think that social media apps offer too much validation to women?
I think it offers validation to both sexes.
Okay.
I
No,
think both
well,
sexes both sexes are aiming to be validated on social media, both men and women.
it's interesting because talk about when we talk about average men, most average men don't receive the same validation that an average woman or even a below average woman will receive on social media. And so, like with the dating market, I actually think it's made it more difficult to date on both sides because you have women with so many men coming at them, and then if the guy is attractive, then he'll clean up on like dating apps. But if a guy is regular or average, he doesn't generally have the same type of success.
Okay. So I teach men to use dating apps and social media like a passive form of income. It should not be your primary way to source women.
Mm.
It should just be cleanup time. Like 9 o'clock at night, you're done with your duties. I'll chill out on Tinder or Bumble or Instagram for 30 minutes and go ahead and take a look around and see if there's any like scout like for 30 minutes. But it shouldn't be your primary source of income, so to speak. So your primary way to connect with people should be in real life. So
Mm.
you should be out there in social environments. You should assert yourself, talk to people, network, and that's where you should meet women in real life. And the interactions with human beings in real life is way different than when you're behind the black screen. Completely
So,
different.
what do you feel about cold approach then?
I think men need to cold approach early on, but I do think once you get to a point where you're very, very confident in yourself, then it's all about positioning. So then you just position yourself to be out at an event, something like that, and a woman can smell it on you. She can smell confidence on you. She could see it in your mannerisms and the way you conduct yourself. So then she will put herself in position to be around you, and then at that point you just basically start conversation, and then you lead it from that vantage point. Um, does that make sense?
It does make sense. Would you suggest it for a guy who considers himself like a lame or whatever?
I mean, if a man calls himself a lame, I mean, he already lost. I mean, this is just my mindset. If you call
True.
yourself a lame, but if you're a lame, then you need to go find a woman that's a lame just like you, and the two of you have a lame ass relationship.
Well, what I was gonna say is, okay, like when guys come
Like
to
there are
you,
women that are lames. Okay, let me make sure I say this.
absolutely.
There's a lame woman and then a lame man. Those two people get together and have their little lame ass relationship, but you can still be happy in a lame relationship. I mean, that's who you are. That's what you believe in. That's what the two of you are. So have your little lame relationship and have fun.
Because what I was gonna say, being that guys come to you to learn about self actualization,
Mhm.
and to build self awareness, self esteem, and stuff like that, and he doesn't have those skills, what do you advise him to do? Do you advise him to continue to deal with women and to understand that he's going to strike out a lot of the times? Or do you tell him to solely focus on getting his own shit together?
I have never given the assignment to any man that I've ever coached to cold approach women. I've never asked the question. So, how many women have you approached this week? I have
Okay.
never asked that, and I want them to approach the man in the mirror first. Be honest with
Oh.
him, and then once I can get you to be honest with yourself, then I can work with that. But I have never once given the assignment to go harass and cold approach women in the street when you hate yourself. I have no. That is not going to work, and if anything, that's going to make you more frustrated. So I want you to do that cold approach with the man in the mirror before you cold approach a woman.
Mm. Give us your top 5 reasons men fail to attract women.
Well, they're not. There's one big one. You're not attractive to yourself.
Okay.
Like 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 are men attracted to themselves? I mean, and not even really in an egoic fashion, although there could be a little ego there. You can't really
That makes
escape
sense.
ego.
Hmm.
But are you attracted to yourself? Do you enjoy the things you enjoy? Like, can you confidently tell a woman, I like golf, or I like to play video games, or, I like to go fishing? And you're not afraid to say those things. Like, are you enjoying your very own existence? That's the first question that I ask men.
I
It's like,
like
where
that. I like that.
that I don't talk. Listen, I don't talk about women with men that I coach. They come up, and you know what I do, Sister George and Naima? I take it right back to him. I say, before we talk about your ex, let's talk more about you.
Oh, wow.
And I don't let them bring it to women. Not in the beginning. I'm not. I say, before we talk about her, we'll get to her. And who knows? We may not even want to get to her after I get to you. So, and usually the deflection and let's talk about something outside of you is because you're not talking about yourself. And so the first and
Mm.
foremost thing I do is get them to cold approach themselves and to get to them to enjoy their very own existence before they can even enjoy and nurture the company of a woman.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
absolute good point.
that right there, I think is will be the most important thing that a man and a woman, that's a flip flop right there. It can go for both sides. That right there is your $1 million worth of game right there.
And it's very important that I help men not hate women. That I can help you release the hatred for women. And equally, if I'm talking to a woman, I'm going to help her work on herself so she doesn't hate men.
Do you think that you come across, and you said no, because you did say earlier on that those aren't really your clientele, right?
Yeah, I don't attract guys like Charles Merchant. I don't attract guys like that. Those guys would never come to my channel.
Okay. Okay. You had a title to a stream called Womanizers Are Insecure. I wanted you to elaborate on that because when I think of womanizers, now they do exude a certain amount of confidence, and women generally like men who exude confidence, and women tend to throw themselves at men. You know, even you said that about yourself. Where does the insecurity part come in at?
Well, I've coached a man that had a relationship that was functioning at a high level. But he told me, he said that he has a wandering eye when he's out in public with his girlfriend. And I said, now be honest with me. Are you actually attracted to those women, or do you want to be validated by those women when they look at you or when they see you looking at them? And he said, I want their validation.
Okay.
So even at the expense of making his girl feel a certain way about it. And eventually his girlfriend said, hey, listen, I don't feel you're trustworthy, because a man with a wandering eye isn't trustworthy. He's not
Really?
focused. Yeah, hell yeah. If you got a
So,
wandering eye, why are you in a relationship?
well, I would say my thought process is when a man enters a relationship, he doesn't necessarily become blind. He can acknowledge if he sees something or someone attractive, like if he
Don't
sees
let that woman look at another man though. Don't let that woman follow a man coming from the restroom all the way to his table though.
Yeah, I think
What?
at certain aspects, I think that kind of involves
Yeah.
like disrespect, because if you're sitting there and you're staring and you're gawking, that does become an aspect of disrespect. But if you look up and you see an attractive woman and you look and she's attractive, you know, what is there to really say? And I'm kind of under the thing like,
But you still have to have courtesy.
yeah.
See, I think that there has to be courtesy. Of course, you could look up and see somebody attractive. Does that mean you have to gulk and stare and make sure she sees you looking at her like a fucking creep? No. You're an insecure man if you got to do that. And you know what? I'll call out women for the same shit. You'll see women stare at men at the bar until she sees them look at her, and then she don't look at them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
So
like
why?
this, that,
And
like
so
that
I'll ask you as a
5 second
woman.
hold.
Yeah, I'll ask you as a woman. Why do women do that?
It's a seduction technique.
A seduction technique with no action behind it.
Well, if a woman is doing it, she's gonna look at the guy, give the guy the signal, and the guy then should do the work after that. You know, if you stare at a guy for 5 seconds, you look up, you look at him for 5 seconds, you may smile just a smidge, and then you look away and you don't ever look back at him.
I think
That
women need to get off the fucking bar stool and walk over to the man and buy him a drink if she wants him that bad.
but then where does the hunter energy from the man come from? Because she's already giving you a signal. Why should she have to approach you?
I mean, look, what if he don't want her like that? What if he's watching the Bulls game? He's like, fuck that bitch.
Then nobody wins, and that's okay.
No, but what I'm telling you though is that I've had women walk up to me and say, I'm buying you your next drink. I don't
Does
see a
that work for
problem with
you?
that. Yeah, hell yeah.
Do you
You
like
think I want
overly
you think
aggressive
I want
women?
it's not that I like it or dislike it. I think she went after what she wanted, and I can appreciate that.
Okay. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with people going after what they want, but it really depends on a man because the research that I've done is when women have approached men, a lot of men don't really like to be approached in a certain way. They don't like like a lot of aggression.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
And
why. They're full of judgment. That's why. They're full of judgment.
yeah,
Men and women, both. But since you were talking about it, they're full of judgment. And I don't think they know how to receive affection.
it may not necessarily be trying to feed affection, but then if
Receive
oh,
receive it. Receive affection.
okay,
I
you're
think
saying
men
that
are
the
so
men
used
don't
to
know how to
begging.
receive
I think
affection.
men are so used to begging that when a woman actually shows some interest, he don't know how to act.
I
Oh,
think that a lot of guys worry about the woman being like way too easy. Like if she's having to do the approaching and she's having to be a certain type of aggressive, men that a lot of men aren't necessarily turned on by that. And I don't think men necessarily mind like light flirting and stuff like that. But when she gets to be a little like, hey, I'm going to buy you your next drink. And then let's say you're not interested in her or you're not attracted to her and you're, oh, well, that was really nice of you, but no, thank you. And then, I don't know. It just kind of seems a little weird to me to a certain degree.
It's because it's weird because it's not the societal norm. But I've met women who were very direct with me, and I appreciated how direct they were.
Did you ever have to decline any of them that you weren't interested in? And do you like do like the friendship type of thing? Like,
No, I don't.
oh,
I'm not friends with
homegirl.
women. I don't believe in being friends with women. I just don't think that that's. It's just not necessary for me. Now I'll do business with women, but I don't want to be their friend. That's not something I'm interested in. If there was a woman to come on to me or advance with me and I wasn't interested, I would have courtesy for her and not disrespect her, but I just would let her know that I'm not interested.
Okay, okay. Um, well, we did have this question
Mhm.
earlier. Do you think that men should lie to women to get sex?
Absolutely not.
Okay, is
Now,
there
now,
ever any
have I lied to
exceptions?
women? I have lied to women to get sex, and it was a miserable experience.
What made
I
it so
used to.
miserable?
Well, because you're lying, it's deceitful. And you're. I had to distant. One time, I disconnected the doorbell. I fucked a bitch in the dark with candles on, and I had a woman and everything. I disconnected the doorbell. I mean, it was a miserable experience. And so, personally, I think just being honest with women is the way to go. And really, being honest with women has nothing to do with women. It has nothing to do with the woman. People actually make it about the woman. They'll
Mm-hmm.
say, well, why would I be honest with women? They're not honest with us. It has nothing to do with the woman why you're being honest. It has everything to do with who you are as a man. How she receives your honesty is also has nothing to do with you.
So there was I want to say we had ARC on here the other day and he was saying that he had an exception to that rule and I want to know if you agree with this exception. Um I want to say it was someone else too that said like if a man hasn't had sex in like quite a bit of time that it like if he was dealing with a woman and the woman asked him when the last time he had sex was and it had been like 4 or 5 years and he was in his 30s, he said that that would be an exception like to tell a woman or if a woman was a virgin. It was Alpha Male Strategies who said that
Well,
too.
first of all, I don't believe that a man that hasn't had sex in 5 years would conjure the interest of a woman to ask him that question.
Mm. You
So
never
I just
know.
don't. I mean, is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? Unlikely.
Probably not, right?
So because he just wouldn't even provoke a woman to go to the place of asking that. And generally, only women ask men who give off that player energy questions like that.
Got you.
Generally, she might ask anyway because maybe it's like a routine to ask men this question. But I just don't think. Now, should he lie about it? Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think if you haven't had sex in 5 years, you are a suffering man.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that does tie into my next question, which was about the effects of sexual discipline. Do you feel like there's any benefit for a man to not have sex for a long period of time?
Yes, but only because he chooses to, not because he's mad at women or he has he's incapable of managing women, or that he has falling outs with women to a point where now he's frustrated. I think it depends on what the reason why. See, most guys go monk mode because they mismanage themselves and they mismanage women. But if you just take 2 weeks off from fucking, and your woman is anticipating you, or a woman is anticipating to be fucked by you again, that's a completely different energy. So I do think that it's important to have breaks due to other priorities. But again, if you're just not getting any play and now you call yourself MGTOW or monk mode, I think you're lying to yourself.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I really
actually
don't.
think I actually think that if you want to fuck women all the time, you're a simp.
Why is that?
Because it's emotional energy. It demonstrates that you allow your body to lead you rather than you lead your own senses. So
So would you
personally,
say like the same
mhm,
woman or different women?
just in general, you shouldn't even fuck your main bitch all the time.
How often should you have sex,
I
in
mean,
your opinion?
I think it should be based on rewards. Number one, I don't think you just fuck her just because she's there. I think you need to fuck her because she's good to you and she adds to you.
So
Um,
you're, and it now that's I want to dive off into like the sex as a reward thing.
yeah.
Is a woman allowed to flip that on you? Like she only gives you head when you've mowed the grass, or you mowed the grass, you bought her flowers, you took on her date,
I
and
have
she's
never
like, you
been in
know
a
what, I'm gonna give
relationship
you.
like that. I
Uh
have
huh.
never been in a relationship like that. Women don't have those types of demands or requests. They only have demands like that with a soft dude. So I've
Mm-hmm.
never heard a question like that. I have never. The only time a woman, if she has to not have sex, is because maybe it's that time of the month. But not women do not give me demands.
So it's not necessarily a demand, but if you're saying that you're giving sex as a reward, is she rewarded often? Do you
Mhm.
give her different types of rewards? Because I saw a video with you and Steve the Dean earlier,
Yep.
and you were saying that guys shouldn't eating the vag should be like a treat. It should be like that should be like a reward in that. And then I'm like, well, isn't all of that isn't that just part of sex?
It's part of sex, yeah, but I still think it's a submissive act, quite frankly.
Why do you think?
It is. Just
Why do
like
you think that?
sucking a dick is submissive. If a woman sucks your dick, she's submitting to you.
But have you ever heard that the submissive one is the one that holds all the power? You've never heard that?
I don't disagree with that. I think again, you can't force submission. I mean, submission is something in my book is something that a woman wants to give. She desires it. She desires to submit, not by
Absolutely.
force, but she desires it. So, I don't teach men to force submission. I mean, that's some sucker shit.
No,
And
I
so
don't. I don't think you
yeah.
can force submission at all. Either a woman wants to or she doesn't, or either she is or she isn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, these
Um,
women out here got some sour ass nasty pussies too. So I think men need to
oh,
watch where they put their fucking mouths. I mean, I just think you need to be careful. Not so much from the submissive standpoint, but that you should protect yourself. I mean, you can't go down on everybody like that.
yeah, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't say everyone, but I was talking about like when you're in a relationship, and
Okay, if you're in a relationship and that woman has earned you, meaning she has gone through the ringer to prove herself to you. Which is why I say if you make a woman wait 4 seasons, that requires patience, commitment, service. Now, if you give her the relationship after 3 weeks, you're a sucker. Okay. And you're probably eating the pussy, licking toes, licking ass, and everything else. But if you're a man on your shit I'm gonna say it like I mean it. You put her through the ringer to make sure she earns the relationship. And if she does that and that's your girl now, you've elevated her, then if you eat the pussy, it's okay.
But
I
what
I
still
would
like
don't think
that.
you
you?
should
I
do it
like that you
often.
said that submissive is a desire, because it is a desire from women, right? And it's and a lot of guys, they don't understand that women do want to be submissive, We do, but we don't want to be submissive to the man that we don't want to be submissive to. So
I agree with that. Mhm.
Um,
But you guys will take from men that you don't want. So you will.
yeah,
You
yeah, a
that's
will
true.
lot of
take.
women
So
definitely will.
There's no
yeah,
argument here.
yeah,
True.
yeah. Which is why I teach men to get rid of them bitches fast. Like happily get rid of them.
You,
Like disqualified within 3 minutes, if
oh,
that.
okay. You said something earlier about putting the woman through the ringer,
That's
and I
right.
wanted to know like what kind of obstacle course do you have lined up when you were dating
It's not just
that would
dating, it's
consider the
now. It's
ringer?
now. I mean, SNO in the chat room. She's elevated to relationship status, but I mean, it hasn't gotten any easier. I mean, you could ask her. I mean, she you can ask her. But like I said, she's got to well, first of all, the reason why it works too is that our lifestyles are conducive to one another. She doesn't drink. I no longer drink. She doesn't party. I don't party anymore. I've hung that up. I have no interest in being in a bar environment unless I'm signing some contract that involves money. And I wouldn't even schedule it there to begin with. So, so our lifestyles are very conducive to one another. So we don't have to try real hard, like it just works. I think sometimes you try to make a relationship or a lifestyle work for you, or you try to get them to come to your lifestyle, and they don't desire it.
So is that
So
actually putting her through the ringer more so than you guys having things in common?
I
Or
think it's well, I still put her through the ringer though, because there's times where a woman, where she'll ask me, um, well, first of all, she asked me for permission to do everything. Not be again, but not because she's forced to, but because she wants to. So
mhm.
she'll ask me, "How do you want me to do my hair? Should I cut it? You want me to keep it long?" Everything is based on my instructions.
Okay.
And but I will tell you, when you first meet a woman, she's not used to that. So you have to like break her down. There is like a breaking down process of getting her. I hear something like a humming sound, but
I'm
I feel
sorry,
like
that was my
I get the
garage.
washing machine running. Oh,
No, it was
God.
my garage.
okay. So when you first meet a woman, you're meeting the reflection of her. You're meeting her past. When you meet a woman, you're meeting her past. So you're meeting her trauma. You're also meeting her happiness. You're meeting everything. You're meeting her ex-boyfriends, their lack of game with her, or you're meeting her frustrations. You're meeting her optimism. I mean, you're meeting whatever. You're meeting her past. So a man with game understands this. But as long as the lifestyles are comparable and she follows my lead, I can coach her. And so when I met my girl, she wasn't ideal completely, but there was potential. And so through that rigorous kind of coaching process every day, now she's a delight to be around.
Okay. Did did she ever pay for any dates?
Of course.
Really?
Of course. Hell yeah. I will tell you that if a woman doesn't pull money out, she doesn't like you. If a woman does not pull money out for a man, she does not like you. And a sure indication that a woman likes you is when she pulls money out.
That's
Okay, now
interesting.
does it have to be often or sometimes or like and what on what uh reoccurrences? Let's ask that.
I mean, I think the man has to set the example. I don't think the first date the woman should be paying for it and shit. I
Mhm.
think the man has to pave the way, but the woman should be investing in you at all times. And sometimes it's with cash, then it's with service, then it's with if you're running a business, she's maybe your secretary, filing paperwork, sending out emails, creating products for you, SEO services. Your woman should be contributing, adding to,
Okay. So
and
not
financially.
necessarily so not necessarily all financials. It's other things as well.
Yes, but when she saves you time by going to the grocery store or picking up your dry cleaning or she's actually making you money. So that's how I look at it. If I don't have to spend an hour running out to go pick up a suit that I had tailored and she does it for me, I just made my $550, $1,000, something like that. So
Oh,
she's
okay.
made me money. She's made me money.
No, I get that. I mean, because when
Mhm.
you're saying that, yeah, I'm just trying to get some more context and as to what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
because to me, that those are the little things to me. Picking up your suit, that's a little thing. The little things matter. They go a long way.
The little things do matter. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But if I'm telling you right now, for any man that's in the chat room, like me or not, I don't give a fuck. However, if your women don't spend money on you, they don't like you. I'm letting you know right now. They'll let you entertain them, but they don't like you like that.
Okay.
Women will go broke for a man. I'm not saying that that's good, and I don't think a man should let her go broke. I think you need to build your woman up. She should be better because she's with you. She should be better across the board because she's exposed to you. However, a woman, if she's really into you, she'll give up everything for you.
That's so
Yeah.
true. That's so true.
You want to read the super chat,
But
Danny?
only a sucker and a simp will disagree. So
Oh,
A shout out to Bernie
absolutely.
L. He says,
that's my guy. What up,
salute,
Bernie?
Coach EO.
Shout out to Bernie. But so it's funny that Noble Sinner, he made a comment, right? He put a comment in the chat and he says, so why y'all date men and entertain men you don't want to be submissive to? This is what Noble Sinner says. But
Um, I don't necessarily think that women don't want to be submissive to guys that they date initially, but most women do know if they would have sex with a guy right off. And you do have some women that will use guys to just date to be fillers. So if you're calling her, you're taking her out, and she isn't getting the attention from the men that she wants to get attention from, she will use you. And let's not act like you're not having a good time if she's entertaining. Like if she's a woman that's constantly in her phone and she's not paying
Mhm.
you any attention, then you should be very dismissive of her right off. But if you guys are able to have a good conversation and have some good laughs and have a good date, then it is what it is. Fair exchange
Mhm.
isn't robbery.
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with that too. But a lot of guys will,
Ladies,
entertain,
I'll be back in 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Give me a
okay.
sec.
Okay.
And but a lot of guys will entertain women that they don't see a future with either. So I
They
mean,
will have sex with women that they don't see a future with.
yes, then a
So
future, a second date, a wife, none of that. So
yeah.
what you talking
Um
about, Noble Sinner?
A shout out to Ricky Webster. He says, Coach EO 2024. Thank you so much for that. And shout out to our bro, L. Nixon. He says, I like this guy. He gives 0 F's about what anyone thinks. Talk yo shit, bro. And Coach EO is
Exactly.
going to come with it every time. I did want to talk about this comment, though. Oh, not that one. There we go.
Oh, Ray
Shout
L's
out.
in the building. Shout out to Ray
Yeah.
L.
Shout out to you, Rael. He says dating is prostitution. Call it what it is. Courting is different. Men know after the first real conversation with you whether they want to have a future with you as a wife. Otherwise, you a jump off. Rael, that now I find that to be really, really interesting because men would say that they would, you have Kevin Samuels giving men advice saying that a man should be ready to get married within 6 months. And men are like, have you lost your freaking mind? Like a lot of men would ask a man, has Kevin lost his mind, to say that they should get married within 6 months. Even Coach EO says that you shouldn't even make a woman your girlfriend after it has to be at least 4 seasons before a woman should even be able to be your girlfriend. So I don't necessarily think dating is prostitution. Courting, what's the difference between courting and dating is my question.
And then what I would ask him is, do you have a job? Because if you have a job, then you're being pimped out by your employer. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Pip
Oh,
my
go ahead.
job, not my ride. Pip my
And,
job.
and let me explain the mindset behind making a woman wait to a point where she is delightfully exhausted from trying to earn you. Human beings only value what they invest in. For example, I made a video on this. Think about the time that you went to a cash bar. You remember how many drinks you had, or excuse me, an open bar. Think about people turn out at an open bar, and they drink their drink halfway, then they put it in a fucking plant somewhere. They have 3 drinks in their hands, and they're not even tipping the fucking bartender, because they don't have to invest shit. It's open for them. Versus if you have a cash bar, they're buying that one drink and they're nursing that shit. So it's the same mindset. If you give anybody something too fast, they don't value you.
Oh, absolutely. And
That's true.
let me say this again for the women in the back. Men will value what they invest in. Point
Mm.
blank period.
Do you know why men escalate relationships? I don't even think it's the women. I think it's men, because he doesn't want to lose her.
It depends. It depends.
Mhm.
Because if a guy is super duper attractive and he has his stuff together, um, women, I don't think women necessarily have an abundance mindset. A lot of women will say that, there's not enough good men to go around. And if a guy has his shit together, women can be really, really competitive, when it comes down to men like that. And then with a guy, I think if a guy has his shit together and he has multiple women who are about something chasing him, a lot of guys, they're not gonna escalate a good situation to a certain degree. I think some guys will revel in that until they're actually ready, and then I think it's about proximity of, like, the first decent woman that they can come across, then they'll get married. From what I've seen.
Well, the men that I coach, after doing some investigative work and asking some strategic questions, it's the men that are advancing women to relationships and marriage, even before the woman is even campaigning for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm not saying all men. I think some men have some game and have some structure and realize the importance of investment before you advance things. But for the most part, most men are simps, and they get a little pussy and they try to secure that pussy. So, um, in what I'm seeing based on coaching, it's many men that are trying to secure the woman. It's not the woman trying to secure the man.
Do you think that most men are batting out of their league, or should there be a league?
I mean, I just don't. Yeah, I would say yes. Short answer would be yes. Here's the problem. Men are going with women and they're getting attached to women because of their beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So they're falling in love with sensations.
Yes.
I coached a guy today and I said, you got to stop falling in love with sensations. And you have to choose people based on how well the two of you communicate, how well the two of you back each other up. That this is a peaceful interaction. Of course, you're going to have moments where there's going to be a little bit of disagreement, but you can also respectfully disagree and so on. But I think men get very attached to the woman's looks, the sensations that they feel. It's not so much the woman; it's just the sensations.
Mm. Um, you said it was the sensations, and I had a question and it just kind of slipped right out of me. I hate that.
Well, think about it. If you could get a woman, if a man can go, make a woman orgasm unlike she's ever been, ever had before, she falls in love with the sensations.
Yeah, she
She ain't falling
does.
in love with him. She's in love with the sensation or the rarity of what happened. Sh-
So, okay, with the way you have a lot of PUAs that have emerged, with the manosphere going mainstream, quote unquote, do you think that the simps will reduce? Do you think the playing field will ever be even? Or do you feel like it's even now with
It's
men and
even
women?
now. It's even now. It's just knowing yourself, having that tremendous self awareness that I will continue to teach. And then and men have to get used to disqualifying women, which they don't do enough of. They're worried about the woman rejecting him
Yeah.
versus him actually dismissing her if they're simply not compatible.
You know, and it's so interesting because women are actually given like that same exact advice. You know, women will be trying to do everything to impress the guy. The guy may not even be into her, but she's doing everything. But she doesn't even know if she actually likes the guy that she's going after to impress. But I thought that was interesting because that happens on both sides too.
Most relationships, it's just one ego is attracted to another ego. It's just the egos are running that relationship. So that's another thing I try to help men is kind of depart from the ego. Use the ego when necessary, but you got to depart from it. Otherwise, you'll lead yourself to destruction if you don't. So and you know, rarity brings value. So just remember
Mm,
that rarity brings value. So if you fuck a woman real good and she's never been fucked like that, she doesn't even like you. I think men think, yeah, I got her hooked. You know, like you know, she'll do it's just right now you're rare to her, but eventually even that will run its course. And unless there's a new value that you bring to the table, then that relationship will begin to distance itself.
okay.
Value
Um,
has to be value in a relationship or dealing with people has to be built on a continued basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, do you think most men that you've encountered lack the ability to seduce women?
Say that again.
Do you think that most men that you've encountered or that you've coached lack the ability to seduce women?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would have to agree
And
with that, right?
because there's no self seduction. And I'm not talking about
Okay.
masturbation. I'm talking about just, you know, self respect, self love. You know, you don't even like yourself. So how could you seduce a woman? You haven't even seduced yourself. You don't reward yourself. You don't honor your own body half the time. You know, it's like, you know, when you're thirsty, man, you're going against yourself. That's why I say simps want to fuck all the time. Um, a man that respects himself is choosy where he puts his dick.
You know what? Being that a lot of men aren't having sex, how bad do you think pornography has affected the dating market?
It hasn't affected women. It only affects men. So, so I think you know it all depends on how what which angle you want to go with this. So, like if you're a man and you're inexperienced, you should be trying to learn a few techniques from porn. Like, why
Really?
does it have to be bad? Why don't you study it? Why don't you see what they're doing and use it to your advantage? That doesn't mean to like, you know, when you're dealing with a woman to expect her to behave like a porn star. But I mean, you could learn some moves from porn. You know.
Well, that's the thing though. In some studies that I read, it was men had like an unrealistic expectation of what women should be doing in the bedroom. And then it was saying that a lot of men get addicted to the feel of their own hand versus actually having sex. So the need to really interact with women is starting to decline because you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, those are just. I mean, that's foolish, honestly. It's just like dating apps. You should use porn in the same fashion. You know, it's kind of like a little treat at the, you know, it's a treat. It's a quick release. It should never be something that you're trying to, you know, make permanent in your life. There were times that I had a 5 woman rotation, but I would rather just jack off and go to sleep than have to entertain this broad. Because truth be told, I'm not going to give a lackluster performance to a woman. If I'm going to see you, I'm going to give you a great experience, and likewise, I'm going to get one too. But you got to that takes energy. So you know, there would be times women would be telling me, "Can I come see you? Can I come see you?" And I would be like, "Not tonight." And I would just pick out one of my favorite porn chicks and bust one, and then be happy.
Mhm.
Okay.
See, if you have a bad relationship with porn, then you're gonna blame porn. You're gonna be lazy. See, it's all about having a good relationship with everything that you engage with. So you should have a good relationship with your doctor. You should have a good relationship with pornography. You should have a good relationship with money. You should have a good relationship with women and men. Look at all the men that came here to be critical. Not that I care, but take a look at that. You
You
telling me
know,
those women, you're telling me that those men that came here to be jealous and envious and critical don't have hate in their hearts for other things? Come on now.
well, I think that usually within this space, you'll have a lot of guys. If you don't follow a certain ideology, then they're typically on one side of that ideology, and if you don't follow that ideology, then you know it happens because we'll catch hell sometimes too. I get it.
Uh,
I've been here for a while, so you know.
but usually, let me say this: usually, a man that is successful doesn't have time to bash anything. We are critical. We make critical assessments. If something is not prosperous for us, we will identify that and make the adjustment and have the necessary conversation. But it doesn't have to involve bashing. It doesn't have to involve, shunning someone. Now, hey, look, I'm not against it. You want to shun somebody, shun someone. I'm not like some fucking priest over here that that's Mr. Perfect. I'm not. However, I've noticed a trend with men that are succeeding and running their lives successfully. They don't have time to do any of this jealous shit.
I think you have a good point. I definitely don't have time to hate watch something or something that I won't enjoy. Um, so I'm with you on that.
I have a question. So I know in this space, it's a lot of people are talking about the pump and dump. This pump and dump, and pump and dump. Shout out to Ramil on this one, right? And they made a song, right? Ramil and you got Mr. Palmer, pump and dump on these hoes or whatever. However the song goes, whatever. So, do you think the guys that are saying that they're pumping and dumping, do you think they are really pumping and dumping, or this is just a fantasy that they wish would happen? In
I,
your
I
opinion,
think
I
I think it may have happened once.
don't know.
I'm so done. And so any other time they're dick on call.
No, I just think it happened one time. It was one and done, and they're just living in that moment forever. Here's another thing that you need to understand: true players and men with game do not talk like that.
Wow.
So you
They don't
believe
even.
that
I
if they're
believe in
truly
full discretion. I believe in full discretion. You would never know who I'm fucking. You'll never know who I'm fucking. And because, for one, you don't need to be in my business like that. Two, if the woman finds out that I'm talking about our fucking sex escapades and the shit we're talking about, now I've lost her trust, and I'm fuck. I mean, that's just not manly. And two, never trust a simp. Because if he finds out you're fucking somebody that he's had the hots for, he will try to throw a monkey wrench in that program quick. The most dangerous man on the planet is a fucking simp.
Mm.
So
mm,
and so I'm just telling you, a man with game and that knows himself doesn't put his business out on the street. He's very discreet. You'll never know who he's fucking.
yeah, I was just curious as to that because I know that most people who are actually doing the thing that they're doing, they don't normally talk about it in a sense.
Well, think about it. Like new money, for example. When you get new money, now you want to talk about all the new money. You're taking pictures with it on the internet and all this shit. You got a new watch. It's the first watch you ever got and shit. And so you show everything. And those are the people that get robbed, you know. But if you pay attention to people who actually have real money and they've sustained it for a period of time, you don't even hear from those people.
No, definitely not as flashy. Definitely not.
Well, because they have something to protect. I mean, just in my experience, if you have a limited amount of something and you have low self-esteem, it just like women. Look at the videos on Instagram of women shaking their big hippopotamus asses and take a look at the background in their house. These bitches don't have shit. They don't have shit. They live off a like. They live off a fucking simps emoji.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
what keeps them. That's what keeps them going. So the same thing with a man who's insecure and he falls into some luck or some shit. He's gonna tell everybody about it.
Well, you guys, I actually have to drop down. I gotta go take care of my family and stuff. So, Coach EO,
Mhm.
thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and allowing us this opportunity to interview you. Definitely
Hey,
appreciate
my
that.
pleasure.
Yes,
I wish you both success. I think the both of you are very talented, and I think big things are on the horizon for both of you. So,
this was
uh,
definitely
s-
good.
yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate
yeah,
it.
Definitely appreciate it.
no doubt. All right. Well, you guys take care of yourself.
All right, Coach EO. We will talk soon.
Well, Naima, we've wrapped up our first interview together. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think we did good. It was a good interview. A lot of good
Yeah, this was
stuff.
pretty good. I was hoping for more people in the chat to have questions. They didn't pose a lot of questions in the chat. A lot of opinions, of course, but we know how you guys do, which is fine. But I was hoping for more questions from the chat since we had Coach EO over. But nonetheless, this was definitely a good show.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Coach EO. All of his links should be in our bio. So if you're looking for Coach EO, his links are in our bio. And his lovely girlfriend is also posting his website throughout the chat.
Yes.
So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already.
All righty. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys for coming over here and supporting us. We're just trying to give some good, some good interviews or some content that you guys are interested in. And we appreciate you guys for kicking it with us. Definitely come back again. We love you for that.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night, and we will see you on the next one.
All righty, guys. Good night.